guys, how's it going? We're gonna do a really basic build log. This build log covers just the PC only, and it's gonna be about the $500 to $600 range, and it should be able to play 1080p gaming at medium to high, maybe even ultra settings depending on the game, pretty dang easily. So let's get started. Alright guys, starting off the parts list, we're gonna go with the CPU. I picked Intel Core i3 Skylake Edition, the 6100. It's clocked at 3.7 gigahertz, and I also picked the 6300 3.8. If you have an extra $30 to throw around, maybe opt going for it. It is only a 0.1 gigahertz step up, but it does come with the cooler, so you won't have to buy the cooler later on down the road. And I chose Micro Center because if you buy a compatible motherboard, you save an extra $30 off of it. So really this $100 CPU turns into a $70 CPU, and this $130 CPU turns into a $100 CPU. So that's phenomenal right there. You can get, I mean, the i3 for $70 is just crazy. Now this is a Cyber Monday deal. I realize it's now Tuesday, but their deals go on until the 4th. So act quick and you can probably still get it. I did pick the Cooler Master Hyper T4 CPU cooler. Now, to be completely honest, it doesn't look like much, but for an i3 processor, it might be kind of overkill, especially since it costs $25. This is completely optional. This is not needed, especially with the Core i3 because it's only a 65-watt power draw. Alright, moving on to the motherboard, I decided to go with the Gigabyte GA H170 Gaming 3. I decided it's a full ATX motherboard, and I decided to go with this because to get the Save 30 deal with the processors, it had to be from Micro Center, and you can't really go wrong here. It's a great basic motherboard. It's an H series, not a Z series, so it doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but it's only $100 brand new. There's an open box. There's probably a few open box for only $70. So you'll get $140 for a motherboard and an i3 Skylake processor. That's really something you can't beat. So that's why I decided to go with this motherboard. It's got a black and red, a little bit of silver color scheme to it, and it should be more than enough to get you ready for 1080p gaming. Now for the RAM, I was looking through Amazon, and I tried to find the best deal on DDR4. It goes everywhere sometimes, but for this 1080p gaming machine and what you're going to be doing on it, 8 gigabytes should be plenty. You shouldn't need any more than that. And with the ballistics, Crucial Ballistics 8 gigabyte kit, which is 2 sticks of 4 gigabytes, it's at 2400 megahertz, which is actually pretty good. It's only at $42.99. Now, you should, at lower settings, you should be able to get away with maybe 4 gigabytes, which is at $28. I wouldn't recommend this, but if you're really kind of scraping the barrel, maybe going with this just to get the system booted and started, this is where you can start and add another one later on. But doing the 8 gigabyte kit right away would kind of save you a couple bucks in the long run. Now again, back to Micro Center for the power supply. Nothing fancy here, but it is an EVGA, so it's a pretty good name brand, and it is 500 watts, which is going to be more than enough for your graphics card and your CPU, and it is at least rated 80 plus. It's not gold or platinum or even bronze, but the 80 plus rating should help some. All of the cords are all attached to it. It's not modular in any way, and it is that ugly mustard ketchup looking power cords inside of a black see-through sleeving, but it's only $40 after the rebate, and that's pretty good for an EVGA 500 watt power supply, which is going to be more than enough to get you going. Now for the GPU, the powerhouse of the system, I decided to go with the Zotac GeForce GTX 1050 Ti. Now why I went with this GPU is because it's the cheapest 1050 Ti I could find. And as long as you're getting that 4 gigabytes of VRAM, that's all that really matters. Now this might not be the prettiest looking 1050 Ti or even the best 1050 Ti, but it is one of the cheapest, if not the cheapest one that I found. The equivalent I found to it was the EVGA GTX 1050 Ti, but it cost $160. Alright, and for all your storage needs, I went with the just a hard drive, a basic 1 terabyte hard drive. You can go even smaller if you want, but I don't really recommend it because when it comes to price per gigabyte, you're not really gonna get your 1 terabyte. I feel is where you get the best value for the price of a build like this. 2 terabytes might be too expensive, but you will be saving money per gigabyte technically. But I went with the Western Digital Blue 1 terabyte 3.5-inch hard disk drive. It's a 7200 RPM hard drive, and this was also from this one was from Newegg. Now to house all of this, I went with kind of an off-brand. I've actually never heard of it. I just typed in ATX case into Amazon and just kind of looked and see what popped up. And this is kind of the cheapest one I found, which didn't look that bad and had some pretty good features. I went with the Zalman ATX mid-tower PC case, the Z1 Neo. Never heard of it or anything, but it looks pretty good. It has some LED fans in it, I believe, some LEDs in it anyways, but it's only 40 bucks. And when you're just trying to throw everything together so you can play, it doesn't matter. It'll fit everything in there. It fits a full ATX motherboard, a full ATX power supply. It's got three hard drive bays that can fit 3.5 millimeter and 2.5 millimeter hard drives or solid state drives. It's also got two 5.25-inch bay slots as well. At the front of the case, you get the power button, obviously, and you also get a headphone jack, microphone jack, one looks like USB 3.0 port, and two USB 2.0 ports. And after calculating all this up, the grand total came out to $550. Now, keep in mind that is without any of the discounts applied or the open box for the motherboard. So that is not the $30 off the CPU. That is also using the most expensive CPU. That's using 8 gigabytes of RAM. So it's the most expensive outcome. If you really got all the deals and everything, you're probably looking at something closer to $450. So $100 off if you can snag all the deals in here, and if you go with that smaller amount of RAM. Alright guys, thank you for checking out my video. In the background here I was playing Stranded Deep. It's a great game. I highly recommend checking it out. It would easily be runnable by this machine. It would easily be played by this machine. So yeah, thank you guys for checking it out. Hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.